I found out that my mom has been lying about why my dad abandoned me 15 years ago. I don't know how to move forward. For most of my life I was just raised by my mother, since my father left us when I was 3, and we are very close. My mom has always been vague about the details of the divorce, just that it was very painful and sudden, and that he never had interest in getting custody of me. A couple months ago I was going through documents looking for my birth certificate, and I came across their divorce papers. Surprisingly, my mom was listed as the one who filed for divorce, contradicting her story that he left us. I figured there must have been a reason for this, like him being abusive, but I know that my mom is sensitive about the topic, so I didn't want to bring it up. I asked my aunt, her sister, but I was just told to drop it. It's been bugging me, so I found him on Facebook. His profile was completely private, but his profile picture showed him with a little boy, who must be my brother. I found his business email online, and against my better judgment I emailed him asking if he would like to meet for coffee. He agreed. Last week we met, and he was completely not what I was expecting. He was thrilled to see me, almost cried, and wanted to hear everything I had been up to for the past 15 years. I asked why he left, and that's when I got his side of the story. Towards the end of their marriage, my father confessed to my mom that he is bisexual, and that during high school and college he had a serious boyfriend. He was ashamed of his sexuality, which was why he hid it from my more traditional mom. My mom was angry, but didn't divorce him because of it. After the divorce he began dating his boyfriend again, and my mom freaked out over me being exposed to this. My mom petitioned for full custody, and was granted it. Over the years my father has attempted to reach out to my mom about me, but she has never budged. I asked my mom about what really happened, no lies. I told her dad's side of the story, and she tearfully admitted that it was true. She insists it was not out of anger or bigotry, but because she genuinely believed that it was best for me to stay with her. I'm just so shocked still. She lied to me for years, making me think my own father did not want me. My dad and I are reconnecting now, but I have missed so much. Next week I'm going to meet his husband and my 7-year-old brother. I live with my mom, but I can't speak to her right now. She is begging me to forgive her, but I'm so angry, and I don't know how I'll ever not be angry with her. Reddit comments. I've never been in your situation, but one thing I'd suggest, given such a big event happening to you, is to give yourself time, and allow yourself to not to have to make any decisions for a while. Yeah. I'm saving up, and then I'm going to move out. Even if I end up forgiving my mom, I need space. But other than that, I'm not making any decisions right now. I completely agree with the above. You absolutely do not have to make any decisions on how you feel, and what you will feel, and how you need to act. Your mom took 15 years away from you. You can't get back, and you have every right to let this flow naturally. If she's half the person she claims, she will understand this and respect you. A very wise decision this one believes. I would also like to second the advice of letting your emotions have their time, and allow your feelings the space and time you need them to. Complete that with not making rash or hasty decisions, and I'm more than sure that you'll make it through this in a much less bad way than many other options. I would also like to express my heartfelt compassion for what you're having to deal with, and at the same time I really hope you're not letting the negative emotions stain the positive experiences of reconnecting with the other part of your family. I found my half-brother on Facebook. My mother had always told me that my father was the worst person of all time, and I believed her. My half-brother told me on Facebook chat that he was a cool guy, loved science fiction, and talking about space as well as drinking a bunch of beer. Sounds a lot like me. My father died 3 years ago, before I ever got to meet him, but to this day my mother still says that he was the worst and always warned me that he would come back and try and steal me or something. I'm going to chalk it up to protection and motherly love, but I can't help but have a sneaking suspicion that my father wasn't actually a bad guy. I'm right there with you. Look, I say this as a gay person. 15 years ago, the culture around sexuality was entirely different from what it is now. Gay was still an insult in 2005. It was still an insult in 2010. Gay marriage hasn't been legal in the US for more than 5 years, and bisexuality is even more misunderstood. It's possible your mother did think she was doing the right thing, and does realize she did the wrong thing, and because of that I really think how she responds to this new situation should determine how you proceed forward. The reality of being a human is that we make mistakes. Sometimes we make really big mistakes, or mistakes that shouldn't reasonably have happened, or a series of mistakes one after the other. Only the people around us can decide if those mistakes are forgivable. There's not a grading system for these things. Talk to her about it. Op, thank you so much for your reply. Genuinely. I think the person you replied to is being far too generous to your mother. I have kids around your age, so your mother is probably around my age or maybe a few years younger. 2005 is not that long ago. Obama was elected president shortly after that, and in 2008. Most decent adults my age or younger held neutral or accepting views on gay relationships by 2005. Of course, as time has gone on, that percentage has increased, but your mother never tried to fix what she did. Now you know the truth about what happened, and your mother is upset and begging for forgiveness. I don't think your mother is sorry for her actions over the past 15 years though. I think your mother is only sorry that she got caught. I say this as a 35-year-old bisexual man. Being called gay is still an insult today. Hatred against queer people and queer men is still very real. And it's very real because it's perpetuated by hateful bigots who do things like destroy the chance of a father and his daughter to have a relationship for 15 years due to their hatred and bigotry. The mother is not a victim here. This is wild, and you have every right to be upset. Don't let anyone tell you shouldn't feel a certain way or make you rush through the feeling process. Just because someone is begging for forgiveness does not mean you have to grant it immediately. If you are not allowed to experience your feelings start to finish, they will linger for a lot longer than is healthy for you or the people in the situation. Enjoy being happy to reconnect with your father and relish in having a brother. But also allow yourself to feel hurt and betrayed because they are all valid to you. I hope once you have processed the good and the bad feelings you are able to reconnect with your mother, but make sure it is on your terms. Hopefully you can come out of this with a bigger and more open family group than you started with. This actually one story on this sub I can attest to. My wife kind of has a similar story to yours. Her parents got married and had her. When she was like a year old, her parents got a divorce because her dad was gay. Her father was from Brazil and was here for school. He had limited contact with my wife when she was growing up from like 3 to 7 years old, but one day he disappeared according to my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law said that he didn't want her and wanted nothing to do with her. Years go by, my wife grows up thinking her dad didn't love her, didn't want anything with her, until one day, when she's like 18, gets a text from a random number saying it's her dad. Turns out that her dad was deported back to Brazil because he had overstayed his visa, and because of American immigration law, since he overstayed the visa, can't come back to America. He had also been trying to reach out to my wife for her entire childhood, sending birthday, Christmas, just saying hi, sending it to my mother-in-law's phone, because my mother-in-law wouldn't give him my wife's number. So he sent her screenshots of all of this showing that her dad really did care about her and that her mom hadn't let him have any contact. My wife confronted her mom and they haven't had the same relationship since. My wife and her dad on the other hand have got super close and talk on FaceTime and the phone at least once a week. They are trying to figure out how to meet up. All that time say, catch up with your dad. Make up for lost time. Don't hold what your mom did against your dad. As for your mom, your relationship probably is gonna change with her. I know for my wife she doesn't have a lot of trust in anything that her mom says, and the only time we go over to their house is to see her siblings, but that kind of lie will do that. I really hope you and your dad have a great time catching up, and that you don't hold it against him. I'm so sorry that happened to you. Something kind of similar happened, where my mother kept me from my father and lied about it to me for years. Kids are not pawns. When I finally found out the truth, I was so upset that I wasn't able to have her in my life. I called her out. Of course she denied it. And that combination of things made me want nothing to do with her.